Um, and then this is gonna sound dramatic, but I really felt I wanted to talk to you today because I really hate my father. Um, and in other words, there is a lot of hate for my father in this body-mind system. And actually, I say this with a great relief today, because I feel that until earlier today, the doership belief in me has really tried and tried and tried not to hate my father. And today, somehow, I just admitted to myself that I hate my father a lot. And yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sounds healthy from one angle, actually.
It is actually, because it's been going on like this, that we had an argument yesterday, or in my view, he had an argument with me yesterday, and I was silent, which I felt good about, because a year ago I would not have been so silent and said, and it we never come anywhere with arguments. And but what is happening today is that my the doer, the thinking mind is producing all the brilliant killer lines that I didn't say yesterday to make me right in this. And I identity goes there, and that triggers this hate feelings in me. And then the thoughts are seen. And before today, there was this guilt about that it's very unspiritual of me to I should not hate him, I should love him, and all of that. But today I feel that it's like a cockfight between the thinking mind and the working mind, because the working mind comes up and says he's not the doer and you are not the doer, and this is predetermined, uh, it, and it feels good, but it feels like in the cockfight between the thinking mind and the working mind, the thinking mind has the advantage of these powerful feelings of hatred that bubbles up, that I can see that it's a lifetime of suppressed hate. So the working mind has a tough fight here. And there is not so much rest. Yeah. So yeah, I would be very, very thankful for a comment on that, Roger.
Yes, it may actually be in this case that it isn't the working mind's fight to have. That the working mind doesn't have a job to do here. I say that because there are, broadly speaking, three quite valid approaches in the seeking path, and the three different approaches all exist. They're not three different teaching paths. These are three approaches within an individual's movement in the seeking process. And often we hear about one or two of them, and then we become sort of exclusively apply that one or two movements that we've heard about. And in non-duality teachings, the one that is hammered home, especially in the top-down teaching, is just witnessing, right? Just so not even bringing in the working mind. That's different. That's a second approach, but the witnessing is just allow the sensations to be there, and they'll dissipate. Just witness it. That is quite akin to abide in I am. There's slight variation. Witnessing has more of a sense of awareness to it. Abide in I am, more of a sense of beingness, but they're really not that different. And that's the movement that is often emphasized. And that's a very important movement. But I'd suggest it's one out of three movements. The other is to understand some concepts, be delivered, get a framework, and be able to have the working mind investigate and the working mind see the hatred and then explain or reinforce the fact that there actually is no doer and that, all of the things we talk about. That would be a second movement. And a third movement that I think we really have to appreciate is a movement of feeling the energy, feeling the hatred, feeling the emotions, without interfering in them with method 1 or method 2. Witnessing doesn't allow us to really feel, because witnessing is sort of like a detachment, where there's no interest in all of the detail of there isn't the capacity to allow feelings, because feelings tend to be more of the body and witnessing tends to be outside of the body. So witnessing interferes with really feeling the body feelings. And investigation also tends to look at the whole situation in quite an objective manner. And the feelings, the emotions, are not at all objective. They're very, from one perspective, we'll say they're very irrational. They're highly personal. Looking at it, this is what he did to me, etc., etc. And so method 1 and 2 don't really support a release of the feelings. And I think that feeling that, even though the narrative from one side says, oh, this is very unenlightened to have all this hatred, and because we think, enlightenment is the absence of hatred, then we say, well, I'm seeking enlightenment, so I shouldn't have all of this, so I don't want to express it. And we need to hear that actually the expressing it, the feeling it, and the expressing it is an essential part in the movement towards the end of suffering. Because, as you say, all of this is locked away from the past, and it's so hidden and suppressed that we don't appreciate, and we don't see the reality. So what you're saying today is something I encourage anyone who feels like, yes, I need to keep it real, to do, which is to call it as it is. I hate my father, if that's the feeling. I hate life. I hate God. I don't want to be here. It's to put words onto the feelings that we're spending so much time suppressing. And in doing that, we're keeping it real, and we can see it instead of convincing ourselves of something that we think we should be, let's say, or we think we shouldn't have. And we're petrified to see that we hate someone because we don't want to admit that of ourselves. But unfortunately, not admitting it is not bringing us towards clarity and towards flow. So I think you're on the right track.